that what we are is spirit, because the part that lives on forever and ever and ever is spiritual. It is, although God can give you a new body at the drop of a hat just as easily as the one he gave us. Big deal. It's just one more miracle for God. It's not really that hard to believe if you have, like Jesus said, the faith of a mustard seed, we can move mountains. But, life is hard, and we take it one day at a time. You get through this day. You make, that's it. Sometimes that's good enough, okay, is going through the motions, saying, you know what, it's really important to me to pay my bills, so that's why I'm doing this. I'm going to this job, not because I love what I do, but because I really love to pay my bills. I really like to keep my head above water. Okay, this feels good. This gives me a sense of security. It gives me a sense of freedom. And this is reasonable. God understands that. We all want to do that. But we also have to search our conscience daily and struggle to say, you know what? What's going on here? Why does it just keep getting harder and harder and harder for me to have a semblance of security, to not be in fear, to have a sense of freedom, okay? Why does it keep getting harder? We have to ask ourselves that. That's what's been going on my whole life. And we all need to address this. All these politicians that talk big, and, Donald Trump is great, and, he wants to make everybody prosperous. But, does he really understand the role that currency plays? He talks about, these bad trade deals and all this, and how we've shipped all our industry abroad, and how we're bringing in all these immigrants. But has he touched on the currency and these people that are printing our currency, whether it be digital or whether it be physical, okay? We need sound money, and the evidence for sound money is that it automatically goes up in worth. So it really wouldn't even matter that industry was going away and we were losing jobs and we were shipping in immigrants. If the money was sound, it would continue to increase in worth. That's what you want. That's what's going to increase your level of security. That's what's going to increase your sense of freedom. Okay, and that's what you want. It's going to reduce your level of burden as your cost of living goes down. Okay, no employer is going to have to worry about giving cost of living adjustments, which are reasonable in light of the fact that your cost of living keeps going up. If you don't get a commensurate cost of living adjustment, there's no difference than if your wages went down. So how is it unreasonable in any way? No, it's not. It's logical and it's reasonable to assume that people need that in order to stay even, but it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened at all. I mean, give me $1.50. And the cost of living we had 50 years ago, any day. That was about the minimum wage back then, a little higher. But, I'll take that $1.50 all day long when I can buy a house for, $8,000 or $10,000, believe me. And that was the state of affairs, definitely, most definitely, as a matter of fact, and you can look it up. Now, if that same house that you bought for $8,000 50 years ago, when minimum wage was $1.50 and you could afford to buy it on approximately 1/4 of your income, would be your mortgage. So if you were clearing, say, less than $200 a month, let's say it's $200, then your mortgage was somewhere around $50, $60 maybe, in that range. So tell me, what would minimum wage be today if it had kept up with the cost of living? You can do the math. Remember, you're paying $800,000 and it can only take up a quarter of your income. Well, your income would need to be roughly around $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year. So at a 40-hour work week, you do the math. We're talking somewhere around, probably $90 to $150 an hour, just off the top of my head. I haven't actually done the math, but you can, and you can calculate it yourself, because I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm just stating the facts. So I know I'm digressing right and left here, and I want to get back to this thing with Hillary Clinton. Now, it was just announced in the news today that her emails are, the investigation is being reopened and all this. And God knows what's going to happen. Certainly, criminal, Hillary, crooked Hillary deserves probably to be, to have been fired, at least, as, what was she, the Secretary of State, right? Which is a big deal. This is the one that goes around to all the other countries. She's the grand diplomat of America, representing, America to these countries, and she's got the military behind her and all this stuff. So, that's a big deal. That's a big office. And, for her to be haphazardly sending emails and stuff, I mean, we all know stuff's being hacked right and left. I have no confidence in my email server. I could tell it's being hacked. Every 5 seconds, they're making a draft. They want to make sure they know every word I'm saying. So even if it's a bot that's doing it, that's, deciphering the words and key words and all that stuff, we know that bots can be used. So if somebody wants to spy in order to get inside information and get the upper hand, for example, in what happened in Libya, in Benghazi specifically. So what we're talking about here is so monumental, okay? It likely involves Obama, okay? That's what's going on here. That's why the cover-up's going on. It's so big, it would probably damage the Democratic Party irrevocably. I mean, they would never come out of this one, okay? Because, if Obama, if this is what he wanted, because of whatever reasons, because, he hates Assad for whatever reasons, maybe it's personal. I don't know why anybody would hate Assad as much as they did. They said he was attacked his own people. We started all this trouble. They had little skirmishes within Syria with these, rebels that wanted, they didn't want democracy. They wanted to rule. Okay, that's really what these people are. So they use intimidation, terrorism. They use violence to get their way. This is ISIS. Okay, this is Al Qaeda. This is any of these groups, al-Nusra. This is any of these groups that say, look, get your way at any cost. That's who these people are. They're cutting the heads off of Christians. They absolutely hate Christians. Assad has been kind to the Christians. I mean, Christians and Jews and Muslims have been living together in peace and harmony for hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay? Understand, anybody can, call themselves whatever. They, it's like saying, I'm going to do this under this banner. If I want to besmirch Jews, I go out there and proclaim to the world that I'm a Jew. And I go do and commit a bunch of heinous acts. A lot of stuff that's heinous is perfectly legal. It's just, saying bad things. It's, it's false testimony against your neighbor. So you understand, so it's like framing somebody up. I could do the same with Christians. I could do the same with Muslims. So you're just waving a banner and saying, I'm a Muslim or I'm a Christian. But, at the end of the day, if you talk to Muslims, they can't stand ISIS. They hate these people. They have to fight them off. My Palestinian friend, he says they don't like these people. They don't want them around. They don't want trouble. You're not going to force your will on us. You're a little tiny minority. What are you, like 1 or less than 1% of the Muslim population? And you guys want to, you want to tell everybody how it's going to be? You want your Sharia law enforced everywhere around the world? It's not going to happen. There's no way. Okay, good is stronger than bad. Okay, right is stronger than wrong, and the good guy is going to win this thing. But the reason I got off on ISIS and all this is that, is that likely, this is what happened here, is they created it. This was a big favor to ISIS. They were going to use them as a proxy, a quasi-army to go in and fight the fight that our guys wouldn't fight, okay? Because our guys say, you know what, we're not going to do this thing. We don't see how overthrowing Assad is good. What's it going to be like, Iraq? Yeah, Iraq is so much better now since we overthrew Hussein. Okay, it's stupid. These people are insane. This is, to me, what they're getting out of all this stuff is, well, they get depopulation, right? That's what war always helps with, the depopulation program agenda. Okay, they make money. We all know it pumps up the economy through the stock market. Anytime the military's doing business, they got to sell armaments. They're making money, so it's a one more last-ditch effort like immigration to prop up a failed crony capitalist economy, because that's what it is. And crony capitalism has no more to do with capitalism, true capitalism. Again, it's like waving a banner. Yeah, we're capitalists. Crony capitalism is fascism. No, they ought to be waving a fascist banner. Okay, so this is another thing they're getting. They get turmoil, which they love. They get crises and chaos, which gives them more relevance. You need us. Look at all these problems in the world. That's why you need us leaders, and you need us saying we got to go to this war and that war, and we got to overturn this dictator, because we're the world's police force. When our own nation is falling apart at the seams, we're divided up one side and down the other. You think that's by mistake? We've been trained. Again, with these same people that psych us out. They train us to think this way. They train us to be this way. That's what's going on here. And unless a teacher, K through 12 and then beyond, understands these things, they're just spewing out the same stuff. You're cats in a cradle. All you're doing for your students is a disservice. You need to teach them real wisdom. You need to find it wherever you can find it, because real wisdom is indisputable. Okay, it's irrefutable. It's always right. It's never subjective. It's always truth, and truth is not subjective. It's not relevant. Okay, it's not relative to any particular bent of thought. Okay, like so many terms are. Truth is truth. Wisdom is wisdom. And we need to understand that. You know, all the teachers out there that are teaching the kids this. So these people are using psychological warfare on us. What is propagandizing us? What is that? What is it when you deliberately make people stupid, when you deliberately make them confused and ignorant, and saying, look, it's hopeless. Humanity has never gotten along with each other, and you never will, which is, to me, is the biggest lie of all. Okay, a great lie from the pit of hell. That's what these people want. That their agenda is that they continue to stay in control, and they're getting more and more desperate because they see wisdom growing amongst the people. They understand people are figuring things out. They're saying, we get it. We know that poverty now, anybody with their eyes open knows that poverty is manufactured. It's induced. It's artificial. It's created. It's invented. It's conjured up. That's what they do, because when you create poverty, you are oppressing people. This is it. You're putting undue burden on them. You've raised their cost of living so much, they can't make enough money. They can't make enough numbers to keep up. So their standard of living has to fall, and that's the object. They say they're trying to save the planet, right? This is all they've got now. That's all they've got, while they're huge hypocrites. Okay, if they want to save the planet, then why don't they live like the homeless people? Because that's the ultimate form. That's the least amount of carbon you can, the smallest carbon footprint you can have is living homeless. Don't drive a car, don't get in a car, don't turn on heat, don't turn on air conditioning, don't cook your food. Okay, that's the way you should live. Don't fly on airplanes. Definitely don't fly on airplanes. Nothing, okay, can you do if that's really what you believe. But you start, if you're going to tell us what to do, then you start by setting example. The same thing with gun control. Get rid of the nuclear bombs first, okay? Set an example for us to follow. Live by example. If you believe that poverty is good, then you live by poverty. But the reason they're doing this, folks, is because the poverty gives them control. It gives them relevance. And then with it, you get the crime. Even though it'd be a lot cheaper to just end poverty, they want that. They want the crime. Go figure. At a cost of $50,000 a year per inmate here in California, they want it to go on. They want it to perpetuate and proliferate, preferably because they get more relevance that way. That's job security to all these people. If the problems ever went away, there'd be mass unemployment. You see how absurd this is? Do you see the madness? And I'm not being cynical, folks. My eyes are open. I see it squarely. And I'm saying, you know what? We all need to see it squarely and pitch in. You get out there and you enlighten other people. You inform other people. That's all I want from the videos I make. That's it. That's good enough, because I want to leave this world a little better for my visit, or at least my brief visit. At least try my best to reach one person, and from that one person it spreads to another person and another. I want to leave this world better, okay, for my brief visit than when I came. If I don't do that, I'm a failure. If I can do that even in an itty-bitty degree, then you know what? I've got good things to look forward to. I will receive my reward, or at least for trying. A for effort sort of thing. It's written that, whoever gives one of these little ones that loves me even a drink of cold water won't lose his reward. So it's promised. We've got good things to look forward to. There's great incentive for being decent and upright, good, holy people. Holiness is not a matter of religion. Anybody could be holy. I see very holy atheists sometimes. At least, they're more righteous. I mean, what is holiness? It's being divine. It's adhering to the precepts of truth, seeking the truth, and then revealing the truth as best you can, doing everything we can to make this a better world. So with the poverty, we get the debt, okay? We get debt. Debt, that's huge. How do you think they're stealing the wealth of our nation? How do you think the debt's ever going to get repaid? For one thing, they don't want it repaid. And the other thing is, the way they're repaying it is through debasing the currency. If the currency was sound, they'd have to pay it back with real money. Okay, and you understand the problem. That's why they keep kicking the can down the road. Just keep the Ponzi scheme going. It's like the Band-Aid analogy. They act like they're going to pull it off at some point, but they keep on toying